They might show up. Mine has a little embroidery on the back. A little down.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Take a roll call.
Commissioner Kaplan?
Here.
Commissioner Brady?
Present.
Commissioner Glissman?
Here.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Here.
Commissioner Petrie?
Here.
Mayor Hamm.
Here. If we all rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start with the approval of the agenda. Mr. Atwood?
I make a motion to approve the agenda for May 4th with a few additions. G5, City Manager Performance Evaluation Form for 25 and 2026 review period. G6, to postponement of 2025-2026 City Manager Evaluation. G7, creation of City Manager Evaluation Review Working Committee.
Support. Can you repeat the seventh? G7?
Creation of City Manager Evaluation Review Working Committee.
Can you repeat number 7 one more time, please? Creation
City Manager Evaluation Review Working Committee.
All right, we have a motion to approve the May 4th, 2026 agenda with the addition of G5, the city manager performance evaluation, G6, postponing the city manager's performance, and G7, the creation of a city manager review working committee, support by Commissioner Brady. Discussion. Commissioner Atwood. Anybody else? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the minutes. Commissioner Petrie.
Ramona, do I have to do both at the same time or separately? Or?
However you want.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve both the special meeting minutes and the regular meeting minutes held the 13th and the 20th of April.
Second.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner McCarthy to approve the minutes of the special meeting held April 13th, 2026, and the minutes of the regular meeting held April 20th, 2026. Discussion?
I have one question.
Question?
Ramona, do I need to mention that we are making a change or no?
You can.
Okay. There was just one small change, and it doesn't matter to me. It said that I gave an invocation at the budget meeting, and I didn't. I regret it. I wish I would have, but I didn't. And so that says that I did in the minutes. Just wanted to people to know that.
All right. All right, and that change was already made ahead of time with the
Yep.
clerk? Okay. All right, very good. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the public comments of the evening. This is a time where we have members of the public step up to the podium and give us their comments. I'll remind the public that there is a 3-minute time limit. There will be a timer running. When you hear the timer, please return to your seat. Your turn would be over, and please state your name as you approach. Right here.
Thank you. It's Pastor Rod Sanderson Smith. I live Heather Drive. It's been a little while since I've seen you guys. It's good to be back. I was heading in the direction of prayer today in the leadership area, and then God shifted it, man, as I was driving in. So we're going to talk a little bit about listening. So real quickly, Proverbs 18, there's tons of stuff in there. No time to read it all today, but just I want to give you a couple of nuggets about listening. A fool finds no pleasure in understanding, but delights in airing his own opinions. Thought that was a kick, that was a good one. And then Proverbs 18:13, he who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. One more quick scripture in James 1. James is just a great book anytime you want to dip into some meat, it's right there. James 1. Let me find it real quickly, I have it right here. And this is one I really enjoy. I keep going backwards. Peter, James, John, Peter. There we go. I knew one point here. It says here, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Father God, I want to thank you for this team. I want to thank you for their tireless commitment to leading well. Father God, I know that as I've been thinking about the skill of listening, thinking about the oral tradition, back when the Word of God was passed on by conversation and conversation alone, I marvel at the listening of the many generations ago. So Lord, I pray that tonight as a team, our leadership team will have great skills in listening tonight, listening and understanding. And Father God, I pray for peace in them as they try to grasp the concepts, the salient pieces. Lord, I thank you for their heart to serve and to lead. But Father God, also know that their leadership has impact in years and years ahead. And so Father God, the weight of that can be enormous. So Lord, I pray that you'll carry them, go before them and behind them as they lead well for our city and our community. Lord, I pray that they will lead in a way that our city sees the result of that. They will experience a town and a community that honors you, that sees growth, that sees prosperity, and that sees a community that learns how to listen and talk well. Lord, thank you that you teach us in your word and how to do this. It's very clear. So Lord, help us to listen well this evening, help us to lead well this evening, and help us to serve you well. We praise the name of Jesus who died on the cross for us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Ron. Anybody else in the back? The very first one there.
Hi, good evening. Kelly Nolan, Lapeer Township. I'd like to give an invocation. As the city commission gathers here to make decisions affecting the people of Lapeer and not just one person's wishes, I ask that you lift your heads to open your eyes and open your hearts and use your minds. Our most serious duty is to look to the community we share, the examples we make, and the legacies we leave. That should be our greatest, most courageous, and noble intention, not to the glorifying of one person. Let this be our most constant success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have a prayer from feminist activist, peace activist, Mary Lou Kawanaki, if I that's right. I bow to the sacred, by the way, my name is Gigi Griffith, I live in the city of Lapeer. I bow to the sacred, I bow to the sacred in all creation. May my spirit fill the world with beauty and wonder. May my mind seek truth with humility and openness. May my heart forgive without limit. May my love for friend, enemy, and outcast be without measure. May my needs be few and my living simple. May my actions bear witness to the suffering of others. May my hands never harm a living being. May my steps stay on the journey of justice. May my tongue speak for those who are poor without fear of the powerful. May my prayers rise to the patient discontent until no child is hungry. May my life's work be a passion for peace and nonviolence. May my soul rejoice in the present moment. May my imagination overcome death and despair with new possibility. And may I risk reputation, comfort, and security to bring this hope to the children. Thank you all.
Thank you. What else? In the back on the left side.
Good evening tonight. My name is Sheila Mallon, and I'm speaking on behalf of those of us who share a more diverse view of spirituality. O Great Spirit, who speaks to our hearts and lives in our souls, teach us the ways of harmony, love, healing. When we go to our sacred place in nature, guide our hearts to walk only in the beauty on Mother Earth and to honor and respect all that is living. Help us to heal all the past trauma that we carry with us, and let us become empty, open vessels so you may fill us with your enlightenment and love. Help us to protect all the voiceless who cannot speak for themselves, the four-legged, the flyers, the crawlers, the waters, and the trees. Oh, Great Spirit, give us compassion when we are troubled. Give us love when we feel alone. Give us healing when we are sick. Oh, Great Spirit, hear my prayers.
Thank you. Anybody else? All the way in the back?
Hi, I'm Kella Carter. I live in the city. I'm here for a totally different reason. I am concerned about the road diet, and I'm actually on a fact-finding mission, and I hope you can help me. Is that I live on Lincoln Street, so I go to Genesee and up the hill to Liberty. And on both spots, there are road diets. And for years, I've been on the PICS board, and my normal route of travel is top of Liberty, make a left, go to Park, go down the hill, and go into the back way. Well, now, I mean, it's really hard to get out, and quite frankly, I feel as if it's dangerous. And the other day I thought, okay, I'm just gonna count cars and see how many go by. First time, it was 21 cars before I could get out. Then I thought, okay, well, maybe that's a fluke, you know, I'll do it the next time. 28 cars till I could get out. And it wasn't like there was a spot where I could get out. It was, and it didn't used to be like that, because you could at least get out, you know, you could at least get over. I mean, before it wasn't a problem because the cars were, you know, not so tight. And I gotta think somehow that is a bit of a accident waiting to happen kind of thing. And then I have to go to Genesee too. And those have always been my routes. I mean, I've lived here for 26 years in the same house on Lincoln Street. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna check this out too. I was trying to go right this time, which seems like it wouldn't be a big deal. They were backed up almost to 24, and I had to wait for them to go by before I could make a right turn. So now you're gonna do the one, you wanna do the one on Genesee. Honestly, I don't see how it helps at all, and if anything, as another example, I was coming down all those little streets that come from town. You wanna go right or left. And I was coming down, and I was actually gonna go right. And so I looked, nobody coming, on the right lane, I could get in, and I looked behind me, and there were 8 cars on the other lane. So you put that all together, and in addition, one other time, and this doesn't happen very often, I'm driving on the east side of Genesee, and there is a funeral procession. Well, I would have been stuck, and this one would have taken me back to 24, because the line was so long. But I would have been stuck there. I mean, I guess I understand it's to try and slow things down, but I just would like some, I mean, I know you're not gonna talk to me right now, but I would like if someone could get back to me, or just, yeah, please think about it. And if you don't travel those roads, you wouldn't know. So that's all I wanted to tell you. But I would like to have some information. And I know you've been talking about it in the meetings, that sort of thing, but still. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time?
Hi, I'm Geraldine Carson from Lapeer Township. And I have a Bible verse and a prayer that I'd like to say. Through the blessing of an upright city is exalted, but by the mouth of the wicked it is destroyed. Lord, today I lift up our city leaders, including mayors, city council, police chiefs, judges, and all who faithfully serve our local communities. Let the power of the Holy Spirit move upon them. Awaken a deeper awareness of your presence as they carry out responsibilities entrusted to them. Grant them clarity, strength, and divine wisdom for every decision they must make. Open their ears to hear the voices of the citizens they are called to represent, and give them compassion for the people of the cities and states. Give them courage to stand firmly against corruption, injustice, and any influence that threatens the well-being of their communities. Instill within them a holy fear of God, a reverence for what is right, and a steadfast commitment to uphold the values that strengthen our nation. May our leadership bring unity, peace, and blessing to the cities they serve. In the name of Jesus Christ, who died for us. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others tonight? All the way in the back?
Me.
Oh.
I wanted to touch on what Kella was talking about with the roads. I live on,
I'm sorry, did you just speak?
yes.
We only
yes,
do one at
please.
a time, one turn at a time.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. I just concerned with
There's another
24.
public comment at the end of the
Okay.
meeting. You're
Okay.
welcome to stay until then and come up again. All the way in the back?
Hi, Ann Shank, Lapeer resident. In the planning commission meeting, they talked about a truck stop at the end of M24 or near the end as part of I think a 3-property complex. And when I heard some of the rationale for that was because the truckers needed somewhere to get rest and to take a shower. And I thought we already had that at a better location where it wouldn't cause the traffic distress that this one will. And we do. I checked into it. The stop on Lake Nipissing, where there's the gas station in the back, there's a truck stop for the truckers and they can do maintenance. They also can take a shower and rest there, which to me seems like a better site for such a thing. It's not the heavy traffic, nor will it cause the imposition on residents that this one would. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The back.
Karen Pacheco, I live in Metamora, but I did live here for 10 years and I shop here and grew up here and all that kind of stuff. So I often wonder, what is the end game here based on what we've been seeing since November? And somebody gave me a hint. They said, go watch the Tea Party meeting from September 2025. It's on YouTube. Anyone can watch it, the Lapeer County Tea Party meeting. And gosh, were there a lot of clues there as to what the end game might be. So the leader of the Young Republicans asked a question. Here's what he said. Now listen, there's really one way to kind of break down which candidate I'm going to be sending support for. We had a situation back in COVID where we saw indefinite employees at a federal level all over the place mandating our nation in ways we could do nothing about because they were indefinite. Now, I have come to learn over the past couple weeks that we have turned City Manager Mike Womack turned as an indefinite employee. So I ask, are you in favor of hiring him and how soon? Now, we asked this question of 2 mayoral candidates who were there. One responded, and then Mayor Hing responded, and here is what he said. Yeah, someone asked me that previously, and my answer to them was this. I'm not running for mayor to fire Mike Womack. That's not my priority. Am I happy with him right now? I'm not. I've had some run-ins with him, and I've had some private conversations that I'm not very happy with in terms of his work ethic and his philosophy, especially when you disagree with me on something that is clearly illegal and you want to justify it somehow. But my motivation isn't to fire him. It's to help him understand with clarity and communication how he has a job to fulfill. And I think that when his efforts are directed appropriately from leadership, he could get some things done, and I've seen him get some things done. The short answer, when I was asked this the first time, is that Mike Womack is in charge of whether he gets fired or not. That was said with kind of a nasty tone. Not me. But I think we need to help him define his role and then evaluate him after he's had some time to live up to it or not. I will say he is standing on shaky ground, though. Again, that was Mayor Hing speaking at this candidate forum. And so what we've seen since then displays very much. I mean, that casts a lot of light on what's been going on here. Someone who talked very much, in my opinion, with bitterness about run-ins with Womack. And I just find that extremely odd because Mike Womack has been, in my opinion, a very good city manager. He is far more educated and far more knowledgeable of the local government than Jeremy Hing. he was running a city back long before you had anything to do with local politics by your own admission and that. And I just found this unfathomable why someone who's so new to local politics seems to think his interpretation is the interpretation. And it overrides the interpretation of trained lawyers who are here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? In the back.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Hayworth. I'm here on behalf of Senator Daley. I'm his new district director. We just wanted to make our presence known at the meeting, and anyone here, if you have any questions for the state, I have a card with me. You can get my email as well as Senator Daley's phone number if you have any questions. As for the board, you should have all received an email today with a meet and greet. We're hoping you will all join us to learn about Optera. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else?
I didn't see a separate public hearing on the Polar Palace rezoning, so I'll speak at this point. I oppose the proposed rezoning of the Polar Palace for a marijuana processing facility. One, it's inconsistent with your master plan. Your master plan looks at it for general business, not industrial. Your planner recommended denial of this rezoning, and so did your planning commission. One thing I've learned in the courts, if you don't honor the master plan, you can't expect the courts will honor your master plan either. None of the exceptions apply, no mistake, change of condition or policy. Two, your old Lapeer Co-op property has taught us a number of lessons. One is don't mix intensive marijuana uses with residential uses. In this instance with the Polar Palace, there's a house kitty corner across the road. There's 6 houses just down the road on the other side, plus the Rolling Hills residential community right next to that. Behind the 6 houses is the Devonshire community. There's also straight downwind the Roland Warner School, a daycare facility with a playground which has a wide open place where kids are going to be swimming in marijuana odors. The second lesson we learned from the old Lapeer Co-op place is that don't mix intensive marijuana facilities with general business uses. Here, there's 2 large doctor office centers to the north of this facility, and there's a dental facility across the street. I was incorrect in my reading that Industrial 1 would allow for grow facilities. That was your old version of the ordinance, and your new one does not. But marijuana processing facilities smell too. And if you had $1 million for every marijuana facility that told you theirs wouldn't cause odor off-site, you would have plenty in your budget. I also believe it's an unlawful spot zoning. We're essentially would be putting a blotch of industrial in the middle of a general business district. So what's my interest in this? Well, for about 30 years, I've been working and paying taxes in the city. I love taking long walks in this beautiful city. I drive each day in from the west. I couldn't help but notice this past week the blossoms were gorgeous. Our city is beautiful, but unfortunately that has been eroded by marijuana odors in recent years. I dread coming to the stoplight near my office where I usually have to gulp nauseous marijuana odors. I don't want to be welcomed into the city each day by driving through a sea of skunky marijuana odors. I want my beautiful city back. So how does that happen? 1, enforce your ordinance rules requiring marijuana facilities to keep their odors on site. And 2, don't approve intensive marijuana uses where they don't belong. And that includes near residential and general business uses, especially where they're contrary to your master plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other? All right. Seeing none. Oh, one more?
Yes. Hi, Heidi Helfer, Lapeer Township. And I hope you are open to listening to the community and not just limited to what you already believe. I met Mr. Womack and Mr. Atwood at the Community Expo the other weekend and wanted to say what a great job they did representing Lapeer. It was so nice to see such competent and articulate individuals. Hopefully this kind of representation will help counter the ridiculous drama that Erhing and so many on the board have become known for. This unserious and juvenile behavior has damaged Lapeer's reputation. It has also served to highlight that the focus is on acquiring more and more power for themselves and not on addressing the concerns of our community. You all are supposed to be working for the betterment of this community. But instead, you've been a source of embarrassment for it. You all are if you, the board, have sense and have respect for the community of Lapeer, you'll start learning from Mr. Womack and Mr. Atwood and stop trying to demean them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Commissioner Petrie?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for May 4th, 2026.
Support.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner Glissman to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the bill listing. Commissioner Petrie?
I move that we approve the bill listing for May 4th, 2026 in the amount of $433,397.79.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner Glissman to approve the bill listing for May 4th, 2026 in the amount of $433,397.79. Any conversation? All right, we'll go to roll call.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, that brings us to E1, proclamations. We have a retirement, Kim Hodge. I have here a proclamation from the City of Lapeer in recognition of Kimberly Hodge. Whereas Kimberly Hodge began her employment with the City of Lapeer on September 24th, 1990 as a clerk typist 1 in the City Manager/Financial Services Department. Was promoted to Secretary 1 on May 14th, 1993 in the Planning Department. Advanced to Administrative Assistant on July 1st, 2001, and was subsequently promoted to Administrative Office Coordinator on October 26, 2015. And whereas Kim has completed numerous professional training seminars, including a wide range of computer software programs, enhancing her skills and contributing to her outstanding performance as both an administrative assistant and administrative office coordinator. And whereas Kim has faithfully served as recording secretary for the Downtown Development Authority, Housing Commission, Planning Commission, and Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas throughout her career, she has consistently demonstrated exceptional organizational ability, a strong work ethic, and a steadfast commitment to public service, proving herself to be an invaluable asset to the City of Lapeer through her dedication, integrity, and professionalism. And whereas Kim will retire on May 14th, 2026, after more than 35 years of exemplary service to the City of Lapeer, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and a community and colleagues who are deeply grateful for her contributions. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Jeremy Hing, along with the Lapeer City Commission, do hereby honor and express our sincere appreciation to Kimberly Hodge for her outstanding public service and extend our heartfelt wishes for continued health, happiness, and fulfillment in her retirement.
I'll take one for flash. Thank you.
I would like my friends in the audience to come up and get a picture with me really quick. They came to support me tonight. Since I have no family here tonight, Linda. Thank you. Sharing with me. I don't want to be
Say mug shot. That was a good camera on.
Thank you, meet you.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, that brings us to G1. Oh, yes, that's correct. Thank you, Mr. Francis. If I could get a motion to adopt the proclamation. Ms. Petrie?
I move that we adopt the proclamation for Kimberly Hodges.
Second.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Petrie, second by Commissioner McCarthy to adopt the proclamation in recognition of Kim Hodge as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. That does bring us to G1, the administrative reports. We have to set the public hearing. Commissioner Brady?
I make a motion to approve setting a public hearing on May 18th, 2026 at 6:30 PM or as soon thereafter as may be heard regarding the financial year 2026-2027, City of Lapeer budget, the first year of the proposed 2027 to 2032 capital improvement plan, and the fee schedule.
Support.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Brady, support by Commissioner Glissman to approve the setting of the hearing on May 18th for the City of Lapeer budget. Any discussion? All right. Take a roll call.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to G2, 2026 application for fireworks. Commissioner Petrie?
I move that we approve the 2026 application for fireworks and the 2026 permit for fireworks submitted by Ace Pyro LLC and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner Glissman to approve the 2026 application for fireworks and the permit for fireworks. Any discussion? All right. We'll go to roll call.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to the rezoning of 3301 Davison Road. Commissioner Brady?
Motion to deny the request to rezone the property known as 3301 Davison Road from B2 General Business to I1 Industrial.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Brady, second by Commissioner Petrie to deny the request of rezoning for 3301 Davison Road. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, that brings us to G4, rezoning of 1134 South Main Street and 1146 South Main Street in the vacant South Main Street parcel. Commissioner Petrie.
I move to deny the request to rezone the properties known as 1134 South Main Street, 1146 South Main Street, and vacant South Main Street parcel number L21-39-831-013-00 from R1 Single Family Residential to PUD Planned Unit Development.
Support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner Glissman to deny the request for rezoning of the properties on South Main Street. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to G5, City Manager Performance Evaluation. Commissioner Atwood.
I move to let the city commission utilize the city manager performance evaluation form previously used by the commission from years 2022 through 2025 for the purpose of conducting the city manager's performance evaluation for May 2025 through May 2026 review period.
Support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Atwood, support by Commissioner Brady to use the previous city manager evaluation form used by the city commission. Discussion. Commissioner Atwood.
Yeah, just real quick, I think it would make it easier for this year just to use that city evaluation form. Kind of in G7, the point of that would be to, if we would like to redo it for the next following year review period, that might work better. So that's kind of my reasoning behind using what we have now and then change it for 2026 through 2027.
Commissioner Peachy.
I have two questions for Josh. Easier for whom, and how did you come up with the last one? Did your commission, your entire commission come up with the last evaluation, or was that the mayor's doing, or who came up with the last, was that a voted on item?
So in closed session, I believe in 2021, the commission talked about it and wanted to make some changes, so they made a committee to do that. Is that in the minutes or no? Who was on the committee? I remember, but
Give me a minute and I'll search that.
I just want to make sure I can say who.
Who was on the
Yeah.
committee? You can say that.
Okay, it was Commissioner Catane and Commissioner Pattison and the clerk. And then we kind of all agreed on that, what they came
All right. Commissioner Brady.
I'm also in favor of using the other one, but it has more so to do with just the way that I don't really like this one. I'm not sure how we got to the point where we decided we needed another one. I would have liked to have been a part of the discussion. I've got notes on every page. I would have liked to have been able to get involved in the process with the changes, probably most substantially switching to like a hard ranking number system, 1 through 5. My experience with that would be that it sets a standard, and I guess the question would be, what's the outcome? Like, why do we need to set a scale? If we're trying to get a hard score for a reason, I'd like to know what the reason is. And I really don't know. We got this a week ago, and it's due to us just very soon. And so I'm concerned about how it got brought to us in such a quick turnaround time, and why didn't anybody talk to us? How come nobody brought this up at this table to discuss, do we want something different? It just feels like it was a decision that was made and then passed out to everybody. So I guess I'm looking for an answer to that question. How did the decision, what was the decision-making process to go from what we had to this new one? All right.
Who are you directing your question to?
I direct all my questions to the chair.
Very good. I'll answer the question and then I'll circle back around to you, Ms. McCarthy. The answer as to how this came about was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, if my recollection is correct. Ms. Sanchez, is that about it? Okay. I was here at City Hall on some other business, and Ms. Sanchez, our clerk, had approached me and said that the annual review was coming up, and she handed me a copy of the old review form and asked if I would like to make changes, because it was, how did you state it, Ms. Sanchez?
That form was designed by myself, 2 other commissioners, to meet the job requirements in the charter. It was
Okay.
specifically towards the meeting the requirements in the charter.
Yep. And at that time, I don't recall the exact words, and you can correct me if I misquote or misstate something, but I was under the impression that this was a normal procedure, and that the last time that it was checked was by the clerk and Mr. Pattison, and that it falls under the purview of the mayor to make any additional changes going into the next period. At that time, I took the copy that Ms. Sanchez had handed off to me, and I told her I would do my best. I did an extensive amount of research and had discovered, and I put my methodology in the introduction. It's very clear in terms of addressing the concerns of Mr. Atwood and Mr. Brady. The instrument is modeled on the International City and County Management Association framework for city manager evaluation. So I didn't just pull it out of a Cracker Jack box. There was extensive amount of research, and there's a reputable organization that recommends this type of framework. The annual assessment criteria tied explicitly to the charter duties, which the old form did as well. So I basically copied a lot of the stuff off the old form, like 80%. The newest stuff is really the numeric scoring with behavioral anchors for written record and weighted criteria reflecting commission priorities. The criteria derived from the charter, section C410, and the city manager's employment agreement. Scoring the 5-point Likert scale, which I think, being in academia, Mr. Brady, you should be familiar with that. This form uses a 5-point Likert scale developed by Rennes Likert and University of Michigan in 1932. It's well known, well used with HR departments. The professional standard recommended by the ICMA, which is the Society for Human Resource Management, and the National League of Cities. They recommend the Likert scale. It seems to work for the municipalities that follow those public sector evaluation criteria that they've defined, the frameworks and the models that they've set up. There was some meta-analysis by Murphy and Cleveland in 1995. All of this could be looked up. There's a Visivaren and ones in 2000. They show that the 5-point scales produce significantly higher inter-rater reliability than 3-point categorical systems, which is what we're moving away from. So it's empirically validated that this is a better system. Numeric scales with behavioral anchor satisfy EEOC, which is the Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures 1978 requirements, and enable the commission to track performance trends and establish a factual basis for employment decisions. All this was in the introduction in case you didn't get a chance to read it, but it does answer quite a few of those questions that seem to be insinuating that there was some I guess, shrouded activity behind all of this, and it wasn't even on my radar until staff had brought it to my attention and told me it was within my purview to address. Ms. McCarthy.
Okay, a couple things. When I first started in this position in November, I got a bunch of books, Widowmaker package of books. And in there were past evaluations. And one of the things that I saw was that there was a written form that had been adopted, and people kind of wrote subjectively what they thought. But in my career, working for Fortune 500 companies, I've always been held accountable to a metric-based evaluation system. And so I was really surprised to see this. I was very comfortable with it. I'm very comfortable with key focus areas and KPIs. Why am I good? So it made me think of this. Let me give you an example. I was always in sales. So my key focus area was to grow sales. You had to grow your sales by 20%. And KPI, key performance, was I had to maintain an 18% GP across all the sales. I had to increase 5% growth within my tertiary markets, 5% within secondary markets. So this made total sense to me. But then I just want to say thank you, because then you put in there that you found this in areas where you look up how communities like ours evaluate their city managers. This wasn't taking it out of a white-collar business environment, it was taking it from a government. So I appreciated that because you did that research. But I was very comfortable with it because I've had to live with a metric system evaluation. I only have one question, And I would like it to, because I don't know what were the dialogues between Commissioner Catane, Commissioner Pattison, and the clerk to go from what we used to have to what we had. But my question to the clerk, if I might, was, have we ever used in the past, in your history, anything that had a metric base previously?
Yes.
So we are going back to something that was previously used, and we stopped using it during this evaluation process that started in 2022.
Yes, that specific form was designed because that commission wanted the city manager to be evaluated on performance as it relates to the charter. The previous form that was used was not specific towards the charter. When, you can stop me if you want. When that committee and I worked on that, I was able to pull, I think, 5 different communities, city manager evaluations. So if we weren't using, as I forgot how you phrased it, just the general public, we pulled them from other cities. And that's how we came up with the form. The previous commission also wanted it to be a specific pass or fail. And then they wanted, if that category was a fail, they wanted a reason. It was supposed to be based on actions, not feelings.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. Continue.
So that, saying pass or fail, it's kind of like, there's no evaluation of good, bad, or good, better, or best. It's just pass or fail. But the second thing is that when I read it, I'm just telling you, it seemed very subjective because there was no metrics to it. So that was just when I read the past ones. I'm just telling you my personal opinion. So when I read this, I didn't have a problem with it, guys, because I've had my managers put me through this for 40-some years. I'm just really, I'm very comfortable with it because that was my life.
Very good.
I'm just saying my opinion.
All right. Commissioner Brady has his hand up first.
I understand this is probably my second time speaking, and so I am going to try to get everything that I have in. Hopefully, we can do that. So first I would note that, Mr. Hing, I don't believe you actually answered my question directly, unless it was when you said that you took it upon yourself after discussion with the clerk. My question is, does the mayor have the authority to just unilaterally rewrite the city manager's evaluation? That's my question. It's the same thing as the chairs. It's just, do I get to say, do I get any input on my one employee? Do I get to have any input on the evaluation form that's just now being changed? The ICMA, which you cited as your main resource, if you look up the ICMA Manager Evaluation Guide, now it's towards the back, but listen to the language here. A word of caution. Numbered rating systems are popular for performance evaluations, but whether a governing body uses a facilitator or not, a numbered rating system is never helpful. Evaluating someone's performance is a complex process, and reducing it to a scale of 1 to 5 helps neither the evaluated nor the evaluators. So the main source that I see is the ICMA. And I don't mean to read into your motives, but I think maybe you knew about that, maybe not. You certainly went through great lengths to try to justify the 1 to 5 scale. But clearly the ICMA says that is not a helpful way to do it. The list of grievances in Section 9, I'm sure did not come from any city manager evaluation. Accepts the lawful authority of the commission as a body to direct the city manager's performance and administrative duties. Does not call, organize, or notice for commission meetings without the charter authority to do so. Like, I agree with that, but this is just a list of grievances. This is like all of Section 9 is just all of the things that Mayor Hing doesn't like about the way that Mr. Womack is doing his job. Here's why I have a problem with that. I don't mind. The evaluation process is for the airing of grievances. I love it. But you're asking me to rate him on a scale of 1 to 5 of whether or not he discloses matters in which the city manager has a direct personal interest. If Mr. Womack is engaging in matters in which he has a direct personal interest, the charter would say that we need to investigate that, not give him a 1 to 5 score. The key performance indicators, which I think gets back to the idea of what is the purpose of this evaluation. If you're gonna put a number on it, I think you're gonna try to use it to fire him. That's just, to be honest, I think that's where this is going. I think we give him a purposeful low score so that we can put him on a plan and fire him. That's what it looks like, okay? Whether that's what you're doing or not, that's what it looks like. The WHO KPI, here's a KPI. Maintains professional courtesy in all interactions and specifically avoids condescending, dismissive, or adversarial language. Who gets to decide whether or not he meets this key performance indicator of being dismissive or not? I hope it's not Mayor Hing. I just don't find him to be a good judge of whether or not that's taking place. The 2 to 3 weeks ago, I'm not sure. I see March 9th that Bodman attorney was analyzing performance documentation. Mr. Mayor, here's just a crystal clear question. Did Bodman have any handling with this evaluation packet? Any involvement at all? Did you discuss it with them? Did they have a letter to do with it at all?
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, I don't know if I have all of your questions, but we'll start with the Bodman thing. Because of the way you framed the question, did they have anything to do with it whatsoever? On the day that I turned it into the clerk, which was the day of my deadline that the clerk gave me to make my edits, I did send them an attachment of my finished product and asked them if they would just look it over for anything that they would see that would be out of character for a normal performance evaluation for city managers, since they do specialize in municipal labor issues. I assured them that it was tied to the charter. If they needed a copy of that, I'd give that to them. But just to get a quick back, same day turnaround, said, hey, ran it through my paralegal, da-da-da, looks great, huge improvement from the last form that you showed me, attached with the same email. This is typical stuff. I have no problem saying that you're good to go with that. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the email in front of me, so, but before I sent it to our clerk, I wanted to ensure that somebody else's eyes were on it. And since we're engaged with them on labor issues already, I thought, why not send them an email real quick?
Mr. Hing, what would
And
be
it-
billed for
I'm
that?
sorry, excuse me, you're out of order. So we'll put that on the record, please. Let's see, where are we at? I think that answers one of the questions. There was another question I think you had insinuated that I took it upon myself. You're missing the fact that I was approached by staff and asked to do this task. So I don't know that that's necessarily a question, but more of an accusation. And yes, you have been trying to imply character motives in your entire delivery of questions and comments. Ms. Petrie.
I have 2 questions for Mr. Brady and a comment. Mr. Brady, you read something from the, can you hear me? You read something in the beginning from the, your sheet there that says it is not helpful, that the scale of 1 to 5 is not helpful, but you didn't read why that wouldn't be helpful or to whom it would. It says it doesn't help us or the manager. It doesn't say why that wouldn't be helpful. I personally disagree. I think KPIs are essential in any employee-employer relationship. And I wondered if you have done the due diligence and the work to come up with something better than what we had, because I, for a fact, know that there were a couple commissioners that, I don't want to use the word complain, but were not happy with the last evaluation for the last 2 years because it was so vague. It was pass or fail, and nobody passes everything or fails everything. So it didn't give you any indication of, it was just pass or fail. And I am one of those commissioners that said this, I practically had to write a novel to make any points, and at that point, it didn't matter. But I think it's really important because I think it teaches the commission something about standards, and I'm a firm believer in always raising standards. Why do we have to keep dropping them? Let's raise them so that we have excellence. I think excellence is important, and I think the rating system is great. And if you feel great about somebody's performance, then you rate them high. If you don't, you rate them low. And then if you're too low, you're supposed to comment. And I, for one, and I'm not speaking out of school because the evaluations were FOIA'd, so they were out in the public. Several, I won't name names, but several didn't make any comments. They went through and drew a line down all yeses or all no's. That doesn't help anybody. We're elected to do our due diligence and make sure that we are doing, all of us, the best for every constituent in this community. And we were elected. This body asks or requires Mr. Womack to administer what the policies that we come forward. We should be evaluating. It's called accountability.
Thank you, Ms. Petrie. I did remember one more question that I did not answer. I wrote it down here. Bear with me a second. Whether or not the commission can have feedback into the evaluation. Considering the time frame in which I was tasked to do this with, I did not reach out for feedback, but feedback is welcome. It may prolong the timing of the evaluation if we have to go to workshop or something like that. However, I'm not adverse to it. I'm completely open to it. I was just trying to meet the task requirement and the timing that I was given to do so. All right. And aside from that, I do have a copy of the email. These questions have been asked for the public's sake and knowledge. What the public doesn't see, and I can appreciate the constructive and sometimes destructive criticism that comes from the public, but what you guys don't see are the mountains and mountains of emails and correspondence that happen outside of this meeting, the contention and the accusations and the mischaracterizations and everything else. However, I do my best to hold to a standard that I don't get into needless debates, but I will answer questions and I will give clarity. The adoption was asked, how did this come about? My answer to that was the revised instrument was prepared for this evaluation cycle at the clerk's request and distributed by the clerk for return by May 6th. To my knowledge, prior evaluation revisions, including the most recent, were similarly prepared at the clerk's request without separate commission adoption. I am not aware of a charter rule or adopted policy requiring the commission to separately adopt the evaluation instrument before individual commissioners complete their evaluations. That's a sufficient answer. Not something that we need to bring into the public square once it's been answered and create mischaracterizations and accusations. I also addressed what Ms. Petrie kindly addressed too, this narrative that this is somehow set up to give a bad evaluation. Well, that's on the person writing on the form. The form doesn't give a bad evaluation. I just observed that the concern that the form will produce an artificially low score depends on the evaluator's underlying ratings. A well-performing manager would score well regardless of section count or weighting. The form does not generate the scores itself. It records each commissioner's assessment against disclosed criteria. These are very sufficient answers, and I think that they're reasonable. And they were already asked, and they were already answered, and now we're inside of a public meeting, and we want to make a spectacle out of this because we don't agree. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Ms. Petrie, you've had two as well. And I think Ms. McCarthy, you've been waiting, and Mr. Atwood's been waiting. So we'll go with Mr. Atwood.
Yeah, I didn't want to get off the rabbit trail here. My motion was pretty easy. I thought it gave us a clear path forward to make things a little easier on us, so we didn't have to get into some of the weeds here. But I do take some issues with the evaluation that you came up with. There's 64 total questions. That's included in the KPI. 31 of them are new. That's 48.44%, almost 50% are new questions. Out of the 64, 42 are new or have been altered by adding a few words. That's 65.625% are newer or altered. You combined budgetary and fiscal management. That was 5 and 8 on the old application. That represents 5% of the overall scoring. 8 and 9, 9 being new, equals 20% of the scoring, and number 8 is also 20%. Two categories are 40% of the weight of this evaluation. One of them being brand new. I guess if this is from May to May, and this is a new category, how is our city manager supposed to know what standards he's supposed to live by or uphold when this is brand new, up to 50% new? Secondly, I do have a question for the city manager, or not city manager, the city attorney, if I may.
Yes.
Does the mayor have unilateral power to take our evaluation that we had and previously and alter it or change it without commission?
The evaluation is a commission-based evaluation. The determination about whether a specific form will be utilized is a commission-based decision.
So with that, I can kind of read the room, so I'd like to call the question.
Support. All right. Mr. Atwood, do you really want to take a vote on calling the question? I think we were moving to a vote on your motion instead. Would you rather do the call the question first? Yeah. All right.
Can someone tell me what the call to question is? I'm so sorry.
Just to move forward and take a vote and no more deliberation. So we'll go by roll call and call the question.
Commissioner Atwood?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
No.
Commissioner Glissman?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie?
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to the motion itself. Ms. Sanchez, would you mind repeating the motion for G5?
To use the previous city manager evaluation form, which was used from 2022 to 2025 for this year.
You're fine. Is that what you have documented? Okay, I believe that was the gist of it. Mr. Atwood, would you like to ensure the technical accuracy?
Yeah, that's basically it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Performance evaluation for May 2025 through May 2026 period, so I think you pretty much said.
All right.
What's our first 2 words to use?
Sorry.
I need to hear it again because I missed the first couple words.
As soon as she's done typing, we'll have her repeat.
Okay, I think I'm closer now. To use the previous city manager evaluation form, for the period of 2025, 2026.
All right. We'll take a roll call.
Commissioner Brady,
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman,
No.
Commissioner McCarthy,
No.
Commissioner Petrie,
No.
Commissioner Atwood.
Yes.
Motion fails. Now, Mr. Francis, you had mentioned that this was a commission task. Would you mind, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind kind of walking us through how you come to that?
Well, yes, Mayor, thank you.
And, hold on, one second, I'm sorry. Walk us through how you've come to that conclusion with our policy charter or any other policies that can support that, because as I see it, and maybe you can answer this question too, and from what I'm hearing from the accounting of the clerk, that may very well be the case, but I can't find where it's documented, so I'd like to know the exact reference. But I'm also hearing from the clerk that there is a custom that's occurring here. And unless there's documented policy, I think Robert's Rules Customs takes over in this case. So if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, and Mayor, the custom would have been established prior to my time period, so I'll have to take whatever was said about that. It's a little bit of negative inference. There's nothing in the charter, there's nothing in the contract, the contract requires only that the review consists of a minimum, that it be performed by the commission, and that it consists of a minimum of a written evaluation portion and the opportunity for the commission and city manager to meet and discuss that evaluation. That's all the contract provides for. And that it has to be done on or approximately the anniversary date, which I understand to be May 6th. I don't have any personal knowledge of the customer practice. There's nothing in the charter. I did not see anything in the commission's rules about manager review or employee review at all. So my take on it is if the commission desires to use a specific form, that's a commission decision.
Okay. What is your take on staff approaching the mayor and asking for the updates to be rendered in a certain time frame and then delivered to the commission as a whole?
Well, I guess with respect to that, Mayor, there is a deadline now. There is an on or about deadline for the review, again, being approximately May 6th. I don't have an issue with the clerk asking for input from the mayor. That's what's been, apparently was done previously. And had there been no issue, I would have had no issue with that format being used.
What is your suggested path forward from here?
Either we as the commission, I know we have G6 and G7 coming up, with G6 being to postpone the review, so some of it would be dependent on that. Commission votes to either use a specific form or we, I guess, end up without a form.
So if the commission so pleases, they could do the inverse of what was just turned down, and that would fall in line with Mr. Francis's recommended steps moving forward.
It's the commission's choice.
To make it a commission's choice.
Correct.
There you go. And that satisfies even custom that we're unsure of and that sort of thing.
Correct.
Let's just put it on the books. Okay, very good. Ms. McCarthy.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Mr.
I think it's probably also worth noting, this is the same thing that happened with the chairs. When the charter is unclear, the commission gets the decisions. That's exactly what the attorney's report was for the chairs. It's exactly what his report is now. You don't have unilateral power. The commission is the authoritative body, and you are the presiding officer. You serve the commission, and you serve it and whatever the pleasure of the commission is what the chair is there to try to codify. Okay, so I just have to say it. You don't get to just have whatever power you think is out there, your power is defined and it's specific. If it doesn't say it written down, you don't get to do it. Thank you.
All right. Well, Mr. Brady, I disagree with you in terms of your characterization of my actions. I agree with you that if it isn't specified by the charter or by the commission, then it's not within my purview. And I have only operated under that premise. Your characterization that I'm doing something other is false, and I'd appreciate it if you would refrain from doing that going forward when you know that not to be the truth. So I asked Mr. Francis for clarification for all of our benefits so we can all hear it, because we don't have a paper trail of it, and because the paper trail that should have been satisfactory for the questions being asked tonight became a public spectacle. So I'm doing what I believe in the best interest of the public so that they can hear from our attorney what the next steps are. I know we're going to a commission motion next, but I want to make sure that Mr. Francis had a chance to say it out loud in the meeting and the public had a chance to hear it. Commissioner McCarthy.
If I understand correctly, first of all, I just want to say about the seating. It was sorry, I'm just back from vacation. It was a suggestion to change the seating. The commission did have the authority and they voted to change the seating. And so while it's a suggestion, anybody can make a suggestion, it didn't happen from one person. The city commission voted and it voted to change the seating. In this situation, I would think the same thing happens, is something's been put in front of us for evaluation. And so we have the ability now to say, okay, this is okay, we like it, or we don't, and we'd like to do something else. So we've already voted we're not going to use the old one. I think where we're sitting today now is, are we going to use this one or are we not? And that's the motion that needs to be made. And then we vote, and that's how it happens. I think that's the clarity. So that's it. I'm just getting clarity. Okay. She had her hand up also.
Yes, go ahead.
First, a question for Mr. Brady.
Point of order. Mr. Mayor, point of parliamentary inquiry. Is it proper for, I reserve my point of order. Point of parliamentary inquiry. Is it proper for her to address questions to me? Can you please give a rule? Can you, because it's your duty, I have a parliamentary inquiry. Is it proper for her to address questions to me, or should she be addressing her questions to the chair?
I can address it to you.
Yeah. So to answer your parliamentary inquiry, the proper Robert's rules would be that she would address the question through the chair, not to the chair, but through the chair, and I believe she was trying to get to that. She said my question would be for Mr. Brady. I would then, after her speaking, defer to you and allow for that answer to be had. So without further ado, I'll allow her to continue to state what her intent is.
I'll ask you. I'm fine. Did you have any of the commissioners ask you any questions about this evaluation or concerns about it? I'm going to say I didn't talk with you about it, and I asked questions. I'm wondering if anybody else in the commission called you to voice their concerns or objections before this meeting today.
Yes, we
Okay.
had the email,
Okay.
and we've been reading from it a little bit tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Is that it? Oh.
No, I'd like to make a motion to accept this evaluation form for this period of 25-26.
All right. Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner Glissman to utilize this revised city manager performance evaluation tool for the review period 2025 to 2025 through 2026, yeah. All right. Discussion. Commissioner Brady.
There are several parts of this, I think I've mentioned already, but I think this is gonna get us sued. I think you're setting us up for.
Can I just do a point of order real quick, Mr. Mayor? Sorry.
Point of order?
Commissioner Glissman had her hand up first, and I think she seconded, right? So should she?
Did you have your hand up first before him?
Sorry,
No, but
Commissioner.
I seconded it, so I take priority because of the second.
Okay.
Melissa
very
would
good.
take priority over me if she wished to speak.
Yeah, that's fine. Are you asserting that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, off track real quickly. The evaluation form that we have used in the past, in my opinion, was ludicrous. And at the meetings that were in closed session, while I also told the other commissioners that I thought that they were so. It was pass or fail, and nobody deserves pass or fail unless they're absolute horrible at their job or stellar at their job. I have done evaluations through teaching, through government jobs, and through business jobs my whole life long, and we've always used data approach with commentary. The data approach allows a person who is being evaluated to see where they stand in almost a percentile, and that they would be able then to improve upon a certain area the next year. As Commissioner McCarthy alluded to, she was in sales. When you have a data approach, you can tell somebody, you know, we wish you could do just a little bit better, and that's why you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'd like to see an improvement next year. I don't feel in my heart and in any way, shape, or form that this evaluation that's being put forth is to fire our city manager, Mr. Michael Womack. I have a very good relationship with Mr. Womack. We agree sometimes and we disagree other times. But I feel like I can do a fair evaluation with this new form. The old form, as Commissioner Petrie alluded, took hours to do because you can't just say pass or fail. You wouldn't want that for your children in school. You wouldn't want somebody to say, oh, well, you know, he didn't do this and he didn't do that, so we're going to fail him and he stays back a grade. Pass or fail, it does no one any good. The narrative that I had to write in these evaluations were laborious to make points. And in most cases, the points were, I feel you could improve in this way or that way. I feel like the data approach, people who are against it might be thinking that we're gonna, you know, give Mr. Womack, city manager Womack, bad grades. I don't think that's necessarily so. I trust myself in the evaluation process as I trust myself throughout government, throughout business, and throughout teaching. So I just ask you, my fellow commissioners, to be open-minded about this and for the public to understand we're just trying to help every year get improvements. Just as Mr. Womack would want all of his directors to make improvements every year. Thank you for listening.
All right. Mr. Francis.
Mayor, I'm sorry, this isn't normally my spot, but I did want to make something clear because I pulled up Mr. Womack's contract. The performance evaluation section, again, I was not involved in this contract, but it does indicate, amongst the things I said earlier, that the city commission with the input of the manager shall define in writing the goals and performance objectives desired to be achieved by the manager. I just want to be clear that without the manager's input, the scoring system or the evaluation is not that document. It's not the goals and objectives because that does require the manager's input. So I just wanted, they may be two different things. I just wanted the commission to be clear on it.
Okay. And how does that affect the current motion on the table?
I don't believe it does, but
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page.
All right, thank you.
Mayor.
Mr. Brady.
I write tests. I have a master's degree in learning design and curriculum, okay? I know how to evaluate people. It's my job. Weighting, somebody chose the weighting of this. And to say that the budgetary and fiscal management would receive 5% of the score is not my priority. That's far from my priority. I am basically here to work on that budget, and the budget is the bread and butter of the city. And to say that that's 5%, especially while airing 20% of the weight to the personal grievances of the mayor. I don't like the KPIs as they're written, okay? I gotta go through a couple of them. On section 1, KPI responds to commissioner questions within 48 hours with complete direct answers, does not characterize commissioner questions as improper or inappropriate. Because that's gonna be hard to do if I go up to Mr. Womack and say, hey, hire my brother-in-law for this contract. It's gonna be hard for him not to say, well, that's not appropriate. Okay, so there's a gray line there, or there's a hard line there, and we're asking to rate it on a 1 to 5. Here's a KPI. Obtain city attorney review before acting on matters with legislative, legal, or policy implications. So now, whenever the city wants to do anything, our manager has to check with our attorney first. Anything with legislative, legal, or policy implications. That's everything. I don't understand how that's not everything. Here's a grievance. Exercises administrative functions within charter scope, does not assume authorities vested in other officials. Several times I've written down here, does Mayor Hink follow these same requests here? Plans, this is section 5, plans and provides for future economic growth in relationship to projected revenues. Oh, you didn't gavel her, okay. Plans and provides for future economic growth in relation to projected revenues and expenditures. I don't know that Mr. Womack has a crystal ball that he can look into the future with. Maintains professional courtesy in all interactions with constituents, staff, and elected officials. I wonder if we're gonna hire another staff member to read through all of his emails and texts and follow him around in public and make sure. No condescending, dismissive, or adversarial language. These are KPIs. This is the kind of thing that he has to get like a grade or maybe even a plan if he doesn't do a good enough job. Fulfills commission administrative requests within 48 to 24 hours. That's a double dip. There's pages of double dips here where if he does one thing wrong, he's gonna get hit on section 1 and section 6 and section 8. This is not good. It's not good.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. I will clarify that Mr. Brady is not being truthful with the way that he's reading the KPIs. It says supports commissioner oversight.
Point of order.
Does not
Point of order.
discourage or
Point of order.
characterize.
Point of order.
What is the point of order?
You just said that I was not being truthful.
Okay, let me finish.
No! According to Robert's rules,
You're out of order.
You're out of order.
You're out of order.
You're out of order.
Please document that Mr. Brady is out of order with a dilatory point of order and being out of order in turn as well. So.
Mr. Mayor, are you going
Does
to rule on my
not
point of order?
discourage or characterize proper commission inquiry as inappropriate. How he read it was, does not discourage or characterize commissioner inquiry as inappropriate. This is critical because he leaves words out to craft a narrative that is mischaracterized and untrue. My statement was not false and did not warrant a point of order or being out of order. I'm correcting, simply correcting and shining light on the way that you mischaracterize and frame things. And I'll have you not do it. I believe you were
Call the question.
called a question. All right, we'll take a roll call on the call to question, so we may proceed forward with the vote on the motion on the table. Is there support? Okay, Ms. McCarthy. By Commissioner Petrie, support by Commissioner McCarthy. Which we'll do a roll call on.
Commissioner Atwood,
No.
Commissioner Brady,
No.
Commissioner Glistman,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie.
Yes.
All right, that fails as a result of needing,
No, that was just called the question. That was called the question.
call the question is a 2/3 vote.
Oh.
So the call to question fails, but we're still at the point of ready to vote anyways, unless someone who hasn't spoke has something they'd like to add. Mr. Atwood.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. If you could redirect this question to the commission. If I did not add this to the agenda, was it going to get added to the agenda? Or would we be stuck with the May 6th deadline with this?
I'm sure if you didn't add it, the expectation that was sent in the email to all of us would be the May 6th, yes. And I didn't set that deadline. That was, would you like to direct the question or
Yes,
follow
that's
up to
what I
the
asked.
clerk? Yes,
No,
please.
I asked if you could ask the commission.
Okay, ask the commission. The question is, are we sticking to the May 6th? You want each and every one of us to answer that?
No. I said, if I didn't add it to the agenda, would this item be added to the agenda and voted on?
You want an answer from each
We
one?
wouldn't be discussing it right now if I didn't add it to the agenda. So my question is, would this have been added to the agenda? Or would we just stick with the May 6th deadline with the proposed evaluation you put forth?
Right. Ms. McCarthy, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying that I had a note here from when I reviewed this about employee evaluation, and were we gonna ask for approval? So if you hadn't brought it up as a motion at the front end, I would have been bringing it up somewhere. So I had intent, kind of our minds were the same. I didn't have it pre-typed out, but I did have it in my meeting notes prior. I mean, I had that concept that I was gonna ask for approval. Or bring it up somehow so we could talk about it.
Is that? Mr. Apple?
Well, I said ask the commission if you want.
That's just me, that's what I answered.
Anybody else want to answer?
I was also gonna bring it up, and I didn't know I could change the date because the clerk gave us that date, so that was not even in my ballpark of changing the date. 'Cause I, in the past, went by the date Ramona gave us.
You're good?
I probably would not have brought it up because I've been sick all week, but I did read the emails and I was assured that someone would bring it up through email conversations.
Mr. Brady?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you please answer Mr. Atwood's question to the commission?
I was looking something up on my phone. I don't know what the question is.
Mr. Atwood?
Would you have brought this up if I didn't bring it up?
Not to approve this one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what.
I wouldn't have brought it up.
Doesn't sound like he would have. No.
Not to approve this one? No. No, I would not have. I'm not in favor of this one.
That's not
No,
the
that's
question is, would you have brought this evaluation up to the agenda, period, to the commission? Would this be a discussion or not?
This one? Disapproving it?
No.
Just.
The performance evaluation topic in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would.
There you go. That's the answer.
I just don't understand what
All
the
right.
point of the question was.
I don't know.
Mr. Mayor?
It's Mr. Atwood's question. It was his time on the floor.
I apologize.
Ramona, please.
The May 6th deadline had nothing to do but with me. I'm going on vacation.
Mm.
My deputy has never put together the evaluations. It was supposed to be on the May 18th agenda. She's putting that agenda together.
Yeah.
And because this is a little bit different, that's on me. That was no one else.
Okay. Yeah.
So I apologize for that.
Thank you for the clarification, Ms. Sanchez. No apology necessary. I did read your email. I do know why you set that date.
Yeah.
I think, that email circulated 2 or 3 times, so we had at least 2 or 3 times to understand your intent behind that. I apologize that we've had to put you on the spot like that.
No, that's fine. I just.
Yeah. Some
Usually
people
I
need
like
to
to
read
give
their
you 2
emails.
weeks.
I
It
get it.
just worked
Yep.
out a little bit differently.
You're fine. Gotcha. All right. With that, I think we will go to vote. Mr.
Chair.
Womack, I see you down there.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, I was hired by this board to fulfill the requirements of the charter. I've done that. My contract says that my job is to fulfill the fulfill the requirements of the charter, and I've done that. My issue, one of my issues, is that this form does not indicate that my job is to fill the requirements of the charter. It adds all sorts of new, very interesting questions, which of course I have knowledge about why they're added, and I'm sure get to a point where I will see your responses. But my biggest issue is that this is an ex post facto change of my criteria which I'm being judged on. For the last year, I've been under the impression that I would be judged based on whether I fulfilled the requirements of the charter, not some of these additional, very interesting questions that have been added and changed as part of your version of my evaluation form. So I think that puts me at an extreme disadvantage as part of this review, which of course we may have further time to discuss at a later date. So that's one issue I have. Another issue I have is, in my previous community, we started as a KPI community, and that board actually chose to go to a narrative-based review because they felt that the KPI scoring was unfair to the manager. And this is my personal belief, it doesn't mean it's right, but telling me I got a 2.5 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 doesn't tell me what specific issues and concerns drive that score. Ms. Petrie, I didn't agree with everything you wrote in your last couple of reviews, but they were at least informative to me of, oh, Ms. Petrie had this concern, it's a specific thing I'm aware of, don't always agree with them, but at least I was aware of it, right? If you give me a 2.5 and that's all I get, it's like, well, heck, I don't know what that was based upon. It may or may not be a fair scoring, I don't know, that's to be decided, but that's one of the reasons I prefer the narrative description of the review, not the just point total. And I see a lot of communities, kind of go back and forth on this issue about whether narrative is appropriate or KPI scoring is appropriate. I've seen unfair reviews be done both ways. So I'm less concerned about that. My concern is changing at the last second puts me at an extreme disadvantage of knowing what I was going to be graded upon a year ago. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Womack. All right. Just like with other comments tonight, I will just briefly address the characterization of the contents of the evaluation. All of the KPIs, all of the questions on the form are either carried over from the other form or added with clarity and firmly rooted in the charter description of the manager's duties. So as long as you understand what your charter duties are, then you understand what you're being evaluated by. If somehow you don't know what the charter duties are, in order to anticipate what even the additions of the KPIs are, then that's a separate discussion that we should probably have outside of this meeting. And it caused for grave concern. All right. Ms. McCarthy, are you raising your hand? You're the only one I don't have here as speaking, so,
Two things.
unless you did.
Nope, two things.
Okay.
The first is that 60% of it is based on 60% of this total evaluation of all the point scores comes up to a series of different job functions that are in the day-to-day operations of the community. And then communications, which is critical, whether it be internal or external clients, adds it up to 80. The last 20% are those issues that actually would, I would think some of those issues where you're talking about ethics, it's, you take money from the city and you're caught robbing. Those are things that could probably put you in a bad situation. So only 20% is that, and you know what I'm saying? So 80% of this is about the day-to-day with communications, which is so integral to what the job function is, that in reality, 80% of this is about day-to-day. The second thing is though, is that when you get, my understanding, because this is what always happened to me, is that when you get a rating and you go into your employee performance review, they tell you why you got that rating. So you know why you got that. You know why one person gave you a 5 because they write something there. And you know why someone might have given you a 3 because they write something there that explains why they gave that evaluation. And so that's where you see in the written with the numbers that tells you what you need to, what that person's perception was that you needed to improve. It's kind of a, this is not a one-all thing. You fill this out, and then there should be a follow-up meeting that is the actual evaluation, that is the dialogue, et cetera, that gives the feedback. Because I don't think that if you just put a number there and you don't write anything, I would suggest highly whatever we do, you gotta give some feedback, because it's not fair. It's not fair to just put a straight line through yeses. It's not fair to put a straight line through nos, because it doesn't give the critical feedback. But if you are gonna put a number there, you should put some type of feedback in the area that's provided, so that they have some constructive direction on why that number was put on there. Does that make sense? I'm just giving clarity. Right. I've had some really horrible managers give me some really bad reviews.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, just a minor clarification if I may.
We're going to go to the vote. Thank you, Mr. Womack. Roll call, please.
Read the motion.
We can reread the motion, please, if you don't mind.
To accept the revised city manager evaluation form for the period of May 2025 to May 2026.
All right. Roll call.
Commissioner Brady,
No, thank you.
Commissioner Glissman,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie.
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood.
No.
Motion carries. That brings us to G6. G6 is the topic of postponing the city manager's evaluation for this period to what date? I don't know. We'll get into discussion. Mr. Atwood, you've placed this on the agenda. Would you like to kick us off with either a motion or?
And a motion.
Okay. Any discussion? No. All right. Without any discussion, we'll move on to G7, which is the City Manager Review Working Committee. Mr. Atwood, once again.
No motion.
Okay. Discussion. Okay. And we'll move on to H1. City Manager's Report. Mr. Womack.
For my friend Linda, I wanted to make sure I put in America 250 update so that you can kind of keep us informed. I was at the last meeting, I was a little late, I apologize for that. But it seems like everyone's kind of getting to the end of the road here. They all seem to have their understanding of what's going to occur. I've been working with my staff to fulfill the kind of the city side of things. But, you know, I want to give you the floor a little bit, so if you could update us, I'd appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you. I had to miss the last meeting, and Commissioner Petrie shared that for me, so she probably has some additional information. But we managed to raise all the money to get taller, better flagpoles. The citizens came forward and donated money so that we raised an additional $2,000. So the east and west flagpoles for the city now will be 30 feet tall. Senator Kevin Daly, and he has a young lady here who works for him, will be donating Michigan flags. Oh my gosh, hang on. And we will be getting flags also from Congresswoman Lisa McClain. So the flags will be on the east and the west side of town. For those who don't know, on the west side of town, they will be on DeMille and Genesee Road, and in the where the cupola is in the median. And on the east side of town, it will be by what I lovingly call the insurance depot, which is by the dog depot park. And there's a welcome to Lapeer sign there. So those 2 flagpoles will be going up. We have additional people coming forward, and of course, not here tonight is Jill Lyons, and Jill Lyons has a wonderful concert scheduled for June 20th with a lot of activities that afternoon and evening, including a picnic. We have Ann Shank working with Lapeer Public Schools for a painting project at each of the schools. And red, white, and blue flowers will be ordered via the Parks Department. And I need to have a meeting with Director Rodney Church about planting lilacs. I was given 20 lilacs donated this past week, and the lilacs I've babied all winter. God bless you. Are ready to be planted. So I need to meet with Rodney Church and the Parks people to get those in an appropriate place. So we're moving forward on a lot of different things, and I just need to get that into a newsletter again so that people can see in written form what is going on at this point. Thank you, City Manager Mike Womack.
And Ms. Beaker, I apologize, you did chair that last meeting. Did you have something else you wanted to add to it?
Just that our next meeting is May 11th, Monday, May 11th at 3:30 for anybody that would like to join. All of the ideas and details are coming together, and June 20th is going to be phenomenal. The fireworks are July 11th. The
gala.
Well, I was gonna say the parade for Lapeer Day's theme is 250, so if you wanna have a float or a vehicle or something in it, their theme will be America 250. And then we have some things for Veterans Week, and we will wrap it up with a gala at the Historical Courthouse with your theme being America 250.
In December.
In December.
Ms. Roman. The next thing is the workshop dates. As directed by the commission, the clerk has picked June 8th, September 14th, and December 14th as workshop dates. I guess topics to be decided. It looks like the topic for the June 8th date is an agenda workshop. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I want to talk about the workshops just
Go
one
ahead.
second. One of the people that, that had been brought to your attention, that you did speak to, was up Tara or something. I know that Senator Daley's person came in and spoke about that. So that would not be something, so we can go to that open forum. It's available for anyone, I believe, for meet and greet, to hear about that. And we had found that very interesting when we went to CapCon. But my question would be, how do we give you topics to be considered and brought to the commission to be voted on, to be included in those workshops, so that we get that simple majority vote for each topic that goes onto the agenda? How's that going to be? How do we submit that to you?
That's a great question. Based upon past activities as regards to workshops, I think the commission should, by majority vote, tell us what they want to be about, and we'll do our best to fulfill that request. As you and I have talked privately, and there's a number of people that you know that might be good people to bring in to talk about various topics. One of the things I had written down here was, various things that we're working on, the HTIF, which I think we've kind of got wrapped up with Fleece and Vanderbrink, but just today we had a developer ask about pilots and LIHTC. That might be something that be coming to you guys. So I think probably a month or two ahead of time, we need to put it into the agenda, have the commission kind of direct us what they want us to work on, and maybe if they have somebody that might be a benefit to bring in to give a lecture or discussion, or if I have somebody on staff to tell them kind of what you expect for them to do.
Okay. So we would submit that by email. May I ask another question?
Go ahead.
We would submit that by email to you? and then it would be put on an agenda somewhere to be those topics. So everybody, if you have a topic that you're dying for, MML, new hire training, whatever it was, whatever's your hot button, we would submit that to you, and then those 2 topics would be put up on for a vote for the city at the next.
I mean, that's probably not the worst way to do it, is if you've got interesting things that you want to be educated on, probably submit it to somebody in my office, probably Ramona.
Okay.
She will then compile a list of here are the things that the commission members have asked about, and then we bring it back to you at a meeting, and you guys can vote on it, direct us.
All right, Commissioner Petrie.
I have a question for Mr. Womack.
Go ahead.
Mr. Womack, will any of these workshops, will we have a combined or a, what did we call it, a group where we have planning, all of them, a joint meeting? Could the September one be joint where all the commissions come together and do something like that? Because then people are back from their summer vacations and may have a better turnout.
So the city is obligated to do a joint meeting, I can't remember if it's the planning commission or the DDA, and somebody
Zoning.
help me if I'm wrong on this. I can't remember if it's RRC required or what it is, but we're obligated to attempt to do that.
Okay.
However, as you've been to, I think, all of them, I can't order people to be there, I can't force them to be
Right.
there. These are gonna be public meetings, as obligated by Open Meeting Act, so we certainly can invite all the board members to come and attend. As a workshop, and I guess this is up to the commission how you guys wanna run your workshops, but some workshops are the commission members get educated and that's it. There's no votes, it's just education. Some workshops, as you've seen me do in the past, is more open to the public, and we're calling to the public, and we're giving them stickers and all sorts of things. It's ultimately kind of down to how you guys want to structure your workshops, but as far as like inviting board members specifically, we can certainly do that. But these will be public meetings.
But could one of them be considered the joint meeting so that you,
I don't see why not.
I mean, if we got it on the calendar,
Yeah.
it's beneficial to us.
Yeah, that certainly would save us having an additional meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Please.
I just want to reiterate that topic that Commissioner Petrie said. I don't know if it was more than a year ago, and I think it was when we had all the directors and we had DDA people, and everyone there was said that they would like to have more cross-pollination of what's going on, and they like to hear it rather than just in emails or reports, but be able to know each other, speak to each other. So I affirm that that would be a very good workshop again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Womack.
I believe that's all I have for this section.
Thank you. That brings us to I-1. Mr. Francis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief update. At the beginning of April, the commission directed me to work with SDRK to see if there was any possibility of a resolution. I don't have anything presented to you, but I've been working with SDRK, communicating with the city manager. I would say there's maybe 9 or 10 categories of topics or categories that I think are important. We're probably locked as far as we're gonna go. On 6 of them, we're working out 3 more, so I'll be working with the city manager and hopefully have something to you. Ultimately, it still rests with the commission. This is just our effort to see if there's any fruit in trying to work out a resolution.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Francis. That brings us to unfinished business, appointments to boards. I didn't see any in our packet unless anybody saw some applications they were wanting to raise tonight. Otherwise, that will bring us to K, departmental communications, which we've received in our packets. And finally, to public comments, our final public comments of the night. Again, I'll remind the public that you're limited to 3 minutes. When you hear the timer, your turn is over. Please return to your seat. And please state your name as you approach the podium. Anybody? Right here.
Hello, Kelly Nolan again. Dear Commissioners and Mr. Mayor, my name is Kelly Nolan and I'm a resident of Lapeer Township, as I've already stated. I apologize. Along with Susan Hoff, I am one of Lapeer County's newest members of the Valley Area Agency on Aging. It's quite a mouthful. It's usually shortened to VAAA or Valley. VAAA is a three-county organization serving Genesee, Shiawassee, and Lapeer counties. VAAA is a vital organization that provides funding and support to local agencies helping deliver essential services to seniors across these counties. In Lapeer County alone, senior programs will receive over $576,000 in funding. These funds support congregate meals, in-home meals, liquid nutrition, in-home respite care, personal care, housekeeping services, outreach efforts, and caregiver education. As advisory council members, we will be conducting outreach throughout Lapeer County, as I'm doing tonight, including attending township meetings to ensure that the seniors are aware, hopefully somebody who might be not here but watching the movies, the video of services available to them. Additionally, May 20th is Senior Power Day at Crossroads Village. Tickets are available for $5 at the Senior Programs Office and at the GLTA. Transportation will be provided by GLTA from their office. The ticket includes admission, a box lunch, and a train ride. Legislative representatives and various service providers will also be in attendance to share valuable resources for seniors. Between Lapeer County Senior Services and VAAA, there are many important resources available to support our senior population. As seniors represent the fastest growing demographic in our county, it is increasingly important that we remain aware of their needs and to continue to support programs that serve them. Thank you for your time. I do have flyers for Senior Power Day for the commissions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question for you, Kelly. $567,000 for just those three.
For just Lapeer County.
For just Lapeer County.
Yeah, that's 15% of the budget of the funds that VAAA does disperse. Genesee County gets a much larger amount, Shiawassee County gets 12%.
Do you know what the full total is?
No,
of
I'm
those
sorry,
two?
I don't.
Okay.
I have actually yet to attend a council meeting. We were approved in March, there was no meeting in April. Now our first meeting will be next week. We did go to the annual meeting, which was their 50th anniversary. It was actually very impressive. I had a great time that day and met a lot of people. So there's an advisory council, and then there's a board. There is a board of directors as well. So there's two different governing bodies. So thank you.
Thank you. Right here.
Hello again, Bridget or Gigi Griffith, Lapeer City. I just wanted to say I got to meet Mr. Womack and Mr. Atwood at the Spring Expo last weekend, and they were fantastic. They did wonderful. They really put a great spotlight on the city. They were very personable. They were very fun. I had a wonderful time talking to them, and I think they really put the city and chamber in a great light.
Thank you. In the back.
Kelly Carter from Lapeer, Lincoln Street. First of all, I want to comment on your things that you said about testing. I'm a teacher, a retired teacher. I've been evaluated several times, and with number system and also with the responses. And so I want to say that, as you said, the questions, there seems like to be an unfair weight on the questions. And it seems as if there would be a big problem if there was a disagreement with Mr. Womack for whatever reason, because it would be very easy to give them a low score because you don't agree with what he did. So he gets a low score, even though he's doing it for the city. I don't know, I guess that part is kind of subjective, even though it seems like it shouldn't be, but it's a very fine line there. And it seems that it's like the whole thing about the disagreements, that it's a dangerous atmosphere to be doing that and creating a precedence with that. And I'm not saying which way to go with your evaluations, but you know, if somebody disagrees with what he's doing and then he gets a low score because of that, just because you disagree, which is pretty seemingly what's happening here, it's not fair. It's just not fair. And one other thing I noticed is that there was nothing talked about any positive praise here. Nobody said anything. It was only about if he gets a bad score, which I guess I understand that, but I would hope that there would be big praise for the things that he's positive at. And I have been, I can't imagine what this poor guy's going through right now. Also, I gotta say, by watching Mr. Hange and your actions with Mr. Brady, it's apparent that any opposition is, or a large amount of the opposition, if you have opposition with him, it's considered argumentative. You got what I said? Okay, I was just making sure because you weren't really paying attention. Rather than being part of an intelligent discourse. I mean, that's what intelligent people do, is they have intelligent discourse so that you can find the good and come in the middle, what's best for the city's citizens of Lapeer. And I think that's a big thing that's missing right now. And I also want to say, if we lose Mr. Womack, we're going to be in the same situation that the library was. Because nobody wanted to come here. Nobody wanted to come here. We had one person that wanted to come here and be our library director, because we've lost two because of evaluations from people that didn't like them, because they didn't agree with what they were doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Geraldine Carson, Lapeer Township. I have a couple comments I want to make. I did see, I was at the expo also, and I thought that was a good idea. But I had a question. Why were there only two of the commissioners present? I didn't see a whole of the commissioners representing at the expo. Were you other commissioners aware of the expo? And were you asked to take place at the expo? The ones that weren't there? Is my question. I would.
Melissa was there, I was there.
Oh, I did see Melissa. I didn't see her at the table though. I did, because I was busy at a table
Yeah,
also.
there was only two chairs, so I was standing
Yeah.
around the table.
Okay.
Ms. Petrie.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Geraldine. It's not time for Q&A, it's time for comments, but
Oh, okay.
we'd be happy to answer those questions after the meeting.
That's fine.
Yep.
Another thing, in regards to the assessment program that you've put together, that you have, I think it's very good for a number of reasons. And everybody seems to think, and I don't know, that's negative thinking in this room, that everybody is assuming that Mr. Womack is going to get low scores. Nobody, he could get many 5s or high scores and positive comments. I don't know why everybody's dwelling on the negative of this evaluation. It's very informative, and there's positive comments, and it's and high numbers. And yeah, there might be some that might be a little on the lower side, but that helps us realize that there is a need for maybe something we can improve on. And I think everybody here, when they're serving a community, needs to look at the fact that we need to have input that's going to help us maybe to improve something on ourselves. You know, I hear other people saying that come up here and spoke that it's like they're assuming you're trying to get rid of Mr. Womack. I don't see that at all. I don't see that at all. And I've heard positive comments from commissioners here in regards to what Mr. Womack does do. And he does do a good job for the most part. There might be some issues. I don't know, because I'm not behind doors of what you speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others?
Ken Kopnick, Oregon Township. What I've seen here tonight has been disgusting. Mr. Womack, I will address this to you. Whatever happens, if you go somewhere else, they will be better off for it. In this community, I have had cranky old farts that are a lot crankier than me, and so far, none of them have had anything bad to say about Mr. Womack. I have watched, I will call him King Hing. I have watched his condescending, degrading, dismissive attitude to other board members when they want to discuss things, argue points. I've watched one board member be accused of making threats when all he did was say, if you want to go toe-to-toe, meaning if you want to argue the point, I would be happy to. There was a cartoon at one point, I don't know if it still exists, South Park. And there was a little character, Cartman. And his catch thing was, you will respect my authority. I've watched Mr. Brady be cut off when he's made comment. And from what I've seen, the meetings I've come to, we have a power-hungry, dominant, arrogant, 3-year-old snot. And all of you people better realize, once he starts cutting, once somebody's done, once somebody gets mad, gets disgusted and leaves, you gotta remember, if you don't go along, you could be next in line.
Thank you. Any others in the back?
Karen Borshako, it's interesting that somebody brought up the library, because what happened with the library is exactly what was in my mind after the last meeting, and what I observed there. Because somebody brought up evaluating the attorney. Oh gosh, that opens the door to replacing the attorney, just like the library board replaced the attorney with someone with no library experience that we could discern of, and was nasty to the director and the evaluation. So then the director left, the second director that group had chased out. And then it was 1,200 people applied for the job with the Lapeer District Library. Only one agreed to interview. Again, that's likely to happen here based on how we are seeing Mr. Womack be treated. And you're just way out of line, extremely out of line with how you speak to him, telling him in one of the first meetings, you'll speak when spoken to. And then that nasty comment you made today. And Mr. Womack does get praise in this community. There was a Lapeer Township meeting recently where he was praised in there as well. They said he was great to work with and very thorough. You talked about Mr. Brady. You gave several. You have a hair-trigger temper when you think someone is attacking your character. You said he was not being truthful. You said when you know that to not be the truth. And you called it a public spectacle that he wanted to bring out into the open, as he should, what was going on with these evaluations. You are so out of line. Now, we've had Petrie here has said that you are a man of excellence. I would like to know what type of excellence, because this is not interpersonal excellence at all. Any classroom teacher has been trained to know that the environment that you were creating here is creating adversarial, and it is triggering amygdalas, and it is creating these situations where people are not able to be their best selves. And your job here is largely ceremonial. It is largely cultural and social. But it seems that you want to be a strong mayor controlling absolutely everything, and you are not qualified to do any of that. People are not code. People are not software. And working with people, from what I've read, perhaps you have a degree in psychology, you do not operate in any way like people I work with who have degrees in psychology and know what they are doing and counsel people. You are completely the opposite, in fact. You seem to want to create this because you want to control everything, which is very much like a prophet or a messiah point of view. And you also talk about persecution, that you are persecuted. We are criticizing this because you are destructive of our community. Anything anyone says negative about you, you consider destructive and malice and all sorts of things. But everything you say, oh gosh, that's the light, even though you are incredibly destructive and cruel in your addresses to people. So you keep talking about truth, your
Thank you.
perspective is not truth. Thank you.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else?
Cheryl Burnett, Arcadia Township. My family's lived in Lapeer County for over 100 years. And character assassinations aside, I appreciate the way the majority conducted yourselves tonight. And I would hope that Mr. Womack wouldn't be concerned about this change in type of evaluation. Even when you call for service with the utility company, they'll ask you to stay on the line and express your opinions 1 through 5, and then you have the opportunity to make comment. That's so much better than just saying yes or no. And I would hope that you would not be concerned, Mr. Womack. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? All right, we're moving on to closing comments of commissioners. Mr. Brady.
Thank you. It's not about the 1 to 5 scoring system. I can get around to the 1 to 5 scoring system. That's okay. I'm going to leave narrative comments. It's about the change of the questions specifically and the weight that was put behind them, which is just a major upheaval of what it doesn't match the charter. It's just inventive. It's a list of grievances, literally. If you want to read a copy, I do have a copy for you. The duty of the chair is to preserve decorum. That's the whole reason we bring a chair. That's the whole reason we have a presiding officer, is to preserve decorum. It is not a license to be out of order. Nobody can gavel the chair, okay? So when I yelled at him that he was out of order, I'm literally trying to follow procedure as much as possible. I don't have any support. I don't have the support I would need to put the mayor into check, okay? I don't have that. A consistent minority role. Robert's Rules of Order 4321. I won't read it all, and I'll probably get criticized for not reading all of it word for word, but it specifically says, if a member disagrees with a statement by another in regard to an event that both witnessed, he cannot state in debate that the other statement is false. He might say, I believe there is strong evidence that the member is mistaken. And the moment that the chair hears such words as fraud, liar, or lie used about a member in debate, he must act immediately and decisively to correct the matter and prevent its repetition. That's the opposite of what we're seeing here. There are people allowing that kind of behavior. There are people allowing that kind of behavior, and I can only do what I can do from here. Mr. Hing likes to read a selection from emails. We did have a back and forth. I'm glad to see that he read his email. He did say in there that he said, I don't see that there's any rule in the charter that says that well, the rule in the charter that says that you can't is the rule that says that the mayor has stated powers. Okay, everything else is not there. Mayor Hing admitted today to using Bodman to run through his independent rewriting outside of a committee vote. I hope he takes it on himself to pay for that personally, because the commission did not vote to run this through with Bodman. I don't think it falls within scope. You don't get to see this. I get to see it. It's the Bodman bill. And it sure looks like everything that was happening before that you don't get to see is now happening in front of us. That's I can't tell you any more than that. Okay? $1,500 on May 9th. $1,500 on May 9th. And you won't see it. You won't see it. Okay? Until, I don't know. I woke up this morning and I thought, what good can I do in the world? That's what I was trying to do today.
All right. Ms. Glissman?
Thank you.
I'll ask the public to refrain from clapping and making comments. It's not something that we do here. I've entertained it for quite some time already in this evening's meeting. If you cannot maintain the peace and the behavior that's expected in a meeting such as this, you can leave. But we won't entertain that going forward. The last mayor didn't, and this mayor won't. Ms. Glissman.
Have a nice night, everybody. I pass. It's late.
Ms. McCarthy.
I have a few notes. Okay, first thing is, the reason why I wasn't up there with all the other commissioners is I was on a cruise. So I was out of town from April 24th through, or April 23rd through May 3rd yesterday. As a matter of fact, Spirit, as y'all know, went defunct. So, and that was my airline. So I was stranded in Chicago last night at 2 in the morning and had to rent a car and drive 4.5, 5 hours home, so that we could be here for work today. So I'm existing today on 4.5 hours of sleep or 4 hours, 7:30 to 11:30 today. So that's why I wasn't there, and I did hear it was a great turnout. Number two, one of the things that Commissioner Glissman did not mention is that on that June 20th, there will be a 7-piece Philadelphia Big Brass. It is Rodney Marsalis. Some of you are familiar with Wynton Marsalis. This is his cousin. They are a brass ensemble. They will be playing at the historic courthouse, I believe, either on the lawn or on the porch. That is part of their picnic celebration, brought to you from the Pix Theater, not from the courthouse. I like tonight that in some of the meetings, we've had a lot of dialogue about separation of church and state. And the separation of church and state is not that there is no religion within a government environment. It's that the government can't push one over the other. They can't select that this is what's going to be done, and they can't mandate it. So you gotta kind of be open and listen to it whether you like it or not. But what we had tonight is we had a collection of different viewpoints all coming together. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to do that tonight, because no one prayer was heard over other people's sentiments. And I like that because it was more of a community involvement. And then I wanted to say thank you to 2 people on this commission who changed my mind last week. One of them is Stephen Brady, Mr. Brady, Commissioner Brady, and one is City Manager Mike Womack. I know a lot of you, 2 sides of everything. Some people don't like the diet, the road diet. Some people do. Some people don't know what to think about it. But there were 2 things, 2 people said different things. So I just want to tell you, because I was adamant, because I've had accidents in that area, and I almost died. Mr. Brady said that when he now comes out of his driveway, traffic is much slower, but when he passes over, he only has to worry about 1 lane. The other thing he said that was a pivotal moment is that the road itself is not physically being changed. It's a paint job. So it's being painted from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. That was an epiphany moment. You are brilliant sometimes. You bring things to the meeting, and I want to thank you for that. Because if it doesn't work out, we can repaint a road, because we're not having to rebuild the road. Okay, so to me, I think, let's see it, and then it can always come, if that's the way it goes, public meeting and everything, understand it's not a construction issue. Please say I'm right. Shake your head yes. It's a paint job. So that's a huge issue, that we can try something and we're not marrying it for life. And then Mr. Womack had mentioned that when he was out bicycle riding and 2 lanes going in different directions, the second lane didn't see him, he got hit and thrown off his bike. And so those 3 comments by these 2 people really made me change my mind, and specifically that it's a paint job. So I hope that gives everybody a little bit of an idea that, it's not some massive change and the bridge is changing size and we're stuck with it. It's an idea. The next thing I wanted to say is that our historic courthouse, Friends of the Historic Courthouse, our meeting is May 13th at 4 p.m. in the County Commissioner's Chamber in the lower part of the county courthouse, because the old courthouse isn't open yet. We always love people to come and hear what we're doing.
Could you repeat the time for that?
Pardon?
Could you repeat the time?
4 to 5 p.m.
Ooh, I'm in Lansing.
Okay? And then, one last thing, I want to bring this up. I want to bring up the evaluation of the city manager. The city manager here is beloved by the staff here. I mean, I can't tell you how much he has immersed himself with the staff, how well he works with the staff. I mean, they make a Christmas tree that only has his picture on it. I mean, he's beloved, okay? So I want everyone to understand that this isn't about, he's horrible. He isn't. And I certainly have not entertained any dialogue of getting rid of him. It's a different way of evaluating. It's going back to a metrics that we used to have. But again, he's beloved and everybody loves him. We get a lot of positive feedback. And so I think that he should rest assured that I don't think that's the intent, at least not my intent. And so I just want to give that clarity to everyone, that I think that there are very positive things that could be said. It can go either way. But if you're gonna if you're gonna put a negative number, you should probably have a reason. But if you're putting positive on, don't forget to write those comments too, because those are pretty positive as well. So it can go both ways. And I just wanted to say that I recognize, as many people do here, that he is well liked, and he tries very hard, and he's beloved within the community. So I think that's important that we say that, because apparently we're not saying enough of the positives. Thank you, everyone, and I'm so glad that I'm back.
Thank you. Mr. Atwood.
Yes, I would just like to thank a few people, Mr. McCready, Flint Watershed Coalition, for organizing the community cleanup in our parks and around the waterways this past Saturday. Thank you, Commissioner Brady, for showing up. I was there myself. And I also like to thank Rick Ryan. He's been donating a dumpster for no cost for the last, I don't know how long it's been going on, over 20 years or something like that. And he's also donated dumpster pickup for us as well when we did other community cleanups. So I don't like litter. So I appreciate him donating his trucks and dumpsters and staff for helping us clean up our city. Again, the city manager evaluation was not meant to get in an argument or anything like that. I saw the issue coming. Again, the issue is not the evaluation totally by itself. It's how we got to this point is my problem. It's the process. Again, I kind of laid out a path to get us there, what I feel was the right process to do and take, but that is not, I'm at the mercy of the commission. That's not what they want to do. So as far as getting in the May 6th deadline, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I don't have time to do that. So see how that goes. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Petrie.
First of all, I do know how that feels to not have support and vote alone. However, I knew when I got elected, I may be voting alone, but I do my best to give my voice, my thoughts, and it is always for the best of Lapeer. It isn't just what I wanted, because if it was just what I wanted, I'd be saying other things up here. I want to make a note too that the past manager, because I attended meetings for 2 years before I was ever on the commission, and their role in these meetings, because they're hired, same with Mr. Francis, they don't have a voice unless we give that voice. So it isn't disrespectful, it's he's running the meeting. I can tell you, I could count on one hand how often our past city manager ever spoke up. He didn't unless he was asked, and that's how it's supposed to run, if they're called on or they have a question or whatever. So just to give a little bit of reference there. The other thing is, I'm not gonna say it, but I know there's a saying about assuming. You probably have all heard it, I'm not gonna repeat it. But so much assumption is happening up here and out there, and all I can tell you is you are not up here, You are not privy to all the information. Some closed session information was given tonight. We're not supposed to do that. Same with the library. If you do know anything about the library, somebody released some closed session information that probably shouldn't have been. We're not supposed to do that. The library people are appointed. You need to take it up with the people that appoint the library board. Same with us. We are elected. Votes matter. So we are trying to stay in the charter, do what we are elected to do. I take this job very seriously. Every day of my life, I'm thinking about what my role is here. I will defend your right to say whatever you want here. I voted no on the policy that I think was not in alignment with the First Amendment. I was the only one that said no because you're entitled to say what you want. I think that there's destructive and constructive words said. Unfortunately, recently, since November, it started, people that have never attended a city commission meeting in the last 5 years anyways, are attending now, and that's great. I think we're getting a lot of views. People are paying attention to what's going on in our city. And I think words matter, and they're permanent. They can do damage, and they can heal. So we need to be really careful. There's 3 personalities, I think, in the human race. There are people that focus on the present, and they're very much in the present, and they make decisions about the present, because that's where their heart is. And that's okay, that's how they were created. There's people that think about the future, and they are really in the future, like decisions about the future. I don't care right now about the present or the past, I'm just thinking about the future. And those people were created that way. That's the way they were made. And there's people that think about the past and how things were or things we did in history that need to be brought along to keep things running. And I think all 3 are represented up here. That's how teams work. And I always go back to teams because I was raised in an athletic family, and basketball is the one that sticks in my mind, but there's 5 different positions to the same. You need all 5 of those positions up here and on a team to get the ball in the hoop. Getting the ball in the hoop the most times, that's how you win. I broke that down really elementary for those who are watching the playoffs right now. So I'm grateful for everybody's personality up here, because we all contribute to things. And we'll be criticized, because if it's not your personality and that's not important to you, then you're gonna be critical of that. That's okay. The evaluation tool, because none of you out there were in the closed sessions that I've been in, I'm just saying that I'm speaking for myself, the last evaluation, the last 2 years, I verbalized. It's not a good evaluation because nobody's good at everything or bad at everything. So I appreciate being able to score it. I think that there'll be lots of 5s for Mr. Womack and other scores. That's how people improve. I mean, I ask my husband to score me on meals that I make. I want to know, is it good? Should I do it again? Do it different? I'm not afraid of that. But also, I wasn't raised in a generation that you got a trophy for participating. You had to do the best. I got cut from girls softball. I was the last one cut. I'll never forget how that made me feel, but it also made me know what I needed to do if I wanted to make the team. So I think evaluations and constructive criticism is helpful, helps us all grow. And so when everybody that came up had a negative comment, like Mr. Womack's gonna get all negatives, again, we'll go back to the word assume. Let's just think about what you're assuming and what you truly do know or don't know. Because like I said, unless somebody showed you emails, you're not privy to what we are wading through and reading and deciding on and questioning. And it's a little frustrating, but I did sit in that audience for 2 years watching and absorbing the interactions. And I can say that this team up here, most of them, are not rubber stampers. And I think the community should be grateful for that, because we are questioning things. We want the best decisions for our community that affect the past, the present, and the future. That's how we should be thinking. So, thank you for coming. Thanks for people that are watching. Thank you for caring what is happening in our city. It's important. It's important.
Thank you. Mr. Womack.
Thank you. So I had to blush a little bit with all those beloveds, Ms. McCurry.
You're beloved. Ramona, is he beloved?
Which she works for me, she has to say that. But I do have to apologize, I'll correct you on something. You said the bridge is not getting, not changing, it is in fact getting a little bit wider, because it's going from a 3-foot sidewalk to a 5-foot sidewalk, 8-foot sidewalk. I feel a little bit safer for the citizens. Ms. Petrie, maybe I misunderstood something you said, something about the commission has to give me the voice or the opportunity to speak. Charter 4-10, the city manager, his functions and duties shall be, subpart G, to recommend to the commission for adoption such measures as he may deem necessary or expedient, and to attend commission meetings with the right to take part in discussions but not vote. So I do have the right to discuss. I don't necessarily need permission of the commission. Of course, I operate at the permission of the chair in the same way that the commission members do, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk when he gives me that chance. Something I wanted to clarify earlier and I didn't get a chance to do, which is that the evaluation that has been used for the first 2 years I've been here was not something designed for me. I was not the one who created it. That was actually performed before I arrived here and was used with the previous manager. So the discussion about pass-fail and all these things, I had no choice in that. Didn't want the public to get this misunderstanding that somehow I was choosing my evaluation. It's not the case. I did want to also thank Ms. Glissman, Ms. Petrie, Mr. Atwood for attending the Spring Expo. I saw all three of you there. I don't think I saw anyone else. Somebody was on a cruise ship. I'll forgive you for that. Ms. Glissman, I appreciate the pencils you brought. Hopefully it was okay with you that when I attended the American 250 committee and you weren't there, I may pass one of those out to the person. Ms. Petrie, did you get the rest of those?
Yeah, I gave them back.
Okay, you gave back. Okay, thank you. Of course, my staff is amazing. They do all sorts of wonderful things, but I did want to point out very specifically, Department of Public Works, both Mr. Slusher and Mr. Calvert, they had a water emergency this past week and worked well into the darkness to try to resolve it. Came back first thing the next morning. We worked all day that next day to try to resolve it. His first inclination was right, although that wasn't proven for about a day and a half. And so, and Mr. Mayor, I'll thank you as well. Mr. Mayor came out and met us on site. We talked about the various issues, and he was briefed and supported us in that. I appreciate that. You may have seen me hand him a high-vis vest at the beginning of this meeting. He earned that. He was walking around the construction site without that on, almost got run over by a front end loader. So he's not going to keep that in his car. The same way that I have one and most of my staff have one. I also want to welcome Samantha, although she goes by Sam. She is our new Economic and Development Director. Started today. Didn't require her to come to the meeting, although you may see her in the near future. And part of the goal of her position is that the city has had a bad reputation for years, long before I got here, that we're somehow anti-business, that we're somehow not working to be business friendly. And those are things that I truly believe in. I truly believe in being a business friendly person. So while I would love to do her job, and it's really my wheelhouse, and I did that in my previous community, I just don't have time for it. They keep me busy doing what I do in my office. So I had a good long talk with her. We walked around, or drove around the whole community, talked about various things that we're going to try to work on, and I think she's going to do great. So I want to welcome Samantha. And I believe, I'm sorry? And I believe that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Womack. Yeah, it's an interesting night. I will agree with the comments that were made, that there are a lot of assumptions being slung around and a lot of negativity being focused on. Evaluations are normal. It's a normal part of our work life. It's a normal part of our society. It's normal to set expectations and to evaluate whether those expectations have been met. And yeah, I think there is a subjective element to that. And that is the right of an employer. And employers, unfortunately, sometimes if they don't like their employee, then yes, unfavorable things happen. And I think we've all been there on either side, or maybe one or the other, or we know someone who has. It's just a part of our reality. But that doesn't mean that we need to make assumptions, focus on the negative, and be critical, and break professional acumen and protocol in a public meeting. We do have a policy that Ms. Petrie had alluded to that she voted against. I don't enforce it strictly with the public, and the public to some degree has gotten very lackadaisical on upholding that. Which is interesting because it's a bit of an irony that the public can't follow regular rules and policies, but they're sure to criticize about things they have no information on. And it's unfortunate that that's what discourse we have. And I'll agree that that's not intelligent discourse, it's ignorant discourse. And it's unfortunate. There's been a line that has been in my mind a lot lately because of the destructive nature of the public interactions. Yes, there's some constructive interactions too, but it tends to settle in the destructive category. And it is this, and I'm not quite sure the name of the author who had wrote it, but it had burned into my mind. It is the weak who are cruel. Gentleness can only be expected from the strong. And the intent there is that contempt is not strength. Cruelty is not engagement. Slander is not engagement. Destructive criticism that isn't uplifting but meant to tear down and debase and call names and refer to people as 3-year-olds, and it shows how weak a person is that needs to resort to cruelty as engagement. When we look at the weakness of others, we have a choice. Rather than accusation, we have a choice. Accusation and assumptions and critical, destructive criticalness is a choice to take an easy path. It's undisciplined. It's the epitome of what I paraphrased of Aristotle last meeting. However, compassion is much harder, but it's also much more honest. And that doesn't mean that a person can't be constructively critical without compassion. It doesn't mean that they have to not raise their voice. It just means that they have to honor the others in even a heated debate with dignity and respect. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to get heated. But the words that we choose, that's what matters. That's what matters. And I am the presiding officer of this commission. And to say that when I'm trying to keep things in order and someone's speaking out of order is somehow hair trigger anger or condescension, I think that I've allowed for too much of disorder, not just in the public body, but also up here at this dais with certain commissioners. And it's gotten out of hand, and it has caused for some very lengthy and contentious meetings. And I take responsibility for the fact that I had not reined it in sooner because of possibly maybe fear of public opinion or critical feedback that I'm being too harsh. but no more, because the harshness comes even when it's not true. So we're going to maintain order, and it should be expected. It shouldn't be ridiculed. What kind of society is this where we don't respect order? See, the problem is, when we think that the problem is out there, up here, over there, someone else, that's not taking accountability. If I were to do that, I would take my hands off the only thing I actually have control over. And that's myself and my own responses. I'm not blaming anyone else for the decisions I make, right or wrong, up here. I may make some mistakes. It may not be the prudent thing to do to introduce a new evaluation mechanism unbeknownst to the commission, but I didn't do it intentionally. I was approached by staff and asked to do that. And there was a timeline, and I respected that timeline. To characterize it as anything different than that is wrong. It's fear-based. What are you afraid of? That doesn't make any sense. Someone said we didn't focus on the positive, but only the negative. Yes, there was a lot of negative around that evaluation conversation tonight. I don't remember saying anything negative. I remember quoting myself from an email. A well-performing manager would score well, regardless of section count or weighting. That's my concern, is that our process and procedure is fair, that it follows the standards of our society and institutions who lay the foundation for this kind of stuff. And I'm not sorry for that. That's what I was elected to do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to continue to raise the standard in spite of the weakness that comes at me in the form of contempt, in spite of the ignorance that doesn't know what's really going on and would rather accuse rather than ask questions or have compassion. That's what I was elected to do, even if it's uncomfortable for me or anybody else for that matter, because it's the right thing. However, I want to piggyback in closing on Mr. Womack's remarks. I really do appreciate the time that Mr. Womack and I have spent this week together. We've collaborated on a great many things. The opportunity to come out and see the water break in construction firsthand and step in the dirt and be around the tractors and maybe have a few near misses was a privilege to serve this community and to stand alongside of our staff who does it day in and day out, selflessly. Mr. Slusher, I appreciate the time that you spent explaining everything and the updates that you give and the care that you put into ensuring that the residents had some form of water or some type of alternate situation provided to them. Same with Mr. Womack. The strategy that goes into that and the care and the handling. And yes, while we have these successes, we also have some failures, but that's not what we should be emphasizing on or focusing on. The successes and the things that we do in unity and together that bring this community together, that's what we should be focusing on. Not the things that we're afraid of, the things that we want to dwell on, the negativity and spiral and assume, and that's not productive. It's just not productive. Kelly's not here tonight, but I wanted to also point out the job that she did on our budget with Mr. Womack. The budget, the CIP, we spent some time in her office, an hour and a half, maybe it was a little more than that, almost 2 hours, getting to the details of some of the budgetary line items and questions and the nuances and the mechanics behind it all. And it is really a great effort. And it's not done just by one person single-handedly. It takes a team to get to that point. And I think that she's done a phenomenal job spearheading that as our finance director. We have some really great staff here, and there's a lot of positive things that we could be focusing on rather than assumptions over a performance evaluation that meets the standards of our society. I want to thank you all for being here. Regardless of the temperature or the disagreements, as Ms. Petrie had pointed out, it takes all types of personalities, experiences, skill sets, perspectives, opinions, and they may not always agree. But it's key to have all of that because it pushes us. It pushes us to do better and to evaluate ourselves at times. It causes us to ask questions and face situations that we normally wouldn't have. And I welcome that and I'm grateful for it. And I have no ill will towards anybody who comes against me in disagreement or even in name calling. Rather, I pray that you would be blessed, that you would find the peace and the happiness, the joy that maybe somehow is missing in your life, that you wouldn't have to spiral downward on negativity and the critiques of others, that you would be rooted firmly in your own identity and your own peace. That's my prayer for you tonight. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all who are watching. God bless. Meeting adjourned.